Today on Mild versus Wild,
I've got $17,000.
and I've got $30,000.
And we're both building 5.9 liter Cummins engines.
So we're here in Akron, Ohio to visit R&R Engine and Machine.
Hey guys, we're here today in our own backyard of Akron, Ohio to visit with R&R Engine and Machine and shop owner Bryan Menke.
R&R Engine and Machine was founded in 1967 as R&R Tool and Machine and manufactured and machined specialized tooling for the automotive industry. What started as just a 2,000 square foot space has since expanded to nearly 40,000 square feet and includes a parts department, a full machine shop, a fuel injection repair shop, drive-in service bays, and an engine dyno room.
Today, R&R sells, repairs, and rebuilds engines of all kinds, performing all types of head and block machining operations for engines ranging from 2-stroke Kohlers to 16-cylinder Caterpillars. The company is an authorized engine dealer for many different manufacturers, including Cummins.
Back in 2006, R&R was named Engine Builder's Machine Shop of the Year, and we've kept close ties with Bryan and the guys here at R&R over the years. So that's why we're excited to be here today to get some 5.9 liter Cummins engines built. Again, our mild budget is $17,000 and our wild budget is $30,000, which should both make for awesome 5.9 liter builds. Once we break down what goes into each build, we'll compare them for horsepower output per dollar, competitiveness, drivability, reliability, and ease of upgrading to see what build comes out on top. All right, let's go see the shop and talk to Bryan. All right, guys, so we are now inside R&R and we are with shop owner Bryan Menke. Bryan, thanks so much for having us in. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. It's not our first time being in the shop or working with you. As we told the viewers, over the years, we've kept close ties with you guys, and you've been in articles, you've been in videos. We've been at the shop a couple times, but it's been a little while, so we're excited to come down here and talk about some 5.9 Cummins builds with you.
Okay, sure.
Now, I don't know that Evan's ever been here though, so.
This is my first time, so Bryan, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
So a shop tour would be awesome because I think since we've been here last, you guys have added some space and certainly
machinery, sure.
Yeah, new machines and things. So we'd love to see you around, and then we can chat about these Cummins builds.
Sounds great. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
So we're entering our parts department right now for all of our engine parts. We keep all of our fuel injection and turbocharger separate inventory. We'll see that later.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll walk around this way. We are a engine dealer for 19 different dealer manufacturers.
Yeah.
Small guys like Briggs & Stratton, Kohler, Tecumseh. We're Deutz, Perkins, full Cummins dealer.
Yeah.
Light duty, medium duty, and heavy duty.
Yeah, awesome. A whole gamut of Cummins stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
So it's a lot of training, a lot of keeping up on everything.
Yeah.
For the Kubota training and Deutz training, but
right.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of parts here, so you got to have a lot of engines going on.
Quite a few.
Yeah,
yep.
Very cool.
We also have a special counter for our employees to come to get parts, and we keep them off the front counter.
Yeah.
So we have one guy dedicated just to fill orders on machine shop, truck shop, drive-in, engine shop, all right here.
Very cool.
Here we're entering our small engine build section here. We also have our balancing, we can see over here shortly.
Yeah.
And our rod shop. So let's go over here by the balancing first, then we can swing around.
Bryan, before we, so
sure.
I know we're talking about light duty diesels, but you guys got some crazy big connecting rods over here.
Oh yes.
What kind of engine build is that?
That's Cummins. Cummins N14 ISX. We have a lot of Caterpillar. Also do a lot of big heavy duty industrial pistons.
Oh wow, yeah.
So
that's cool.
And we'll see the crank for that later in the tour. It's back there, getting all welded up and redone.
It's neat to see that type of stuff because we get more wrapped up in the performance side of things or the street side of things. So it's neat to see more of the industrial stuff.
Yeah, anything engine we do, that's all we touch. It's engines only, no transmissions, brakes, anything like that. So.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah, let's touch over here on the engine balancing. Just a small one for right now, but usually we can we check all your Cummins. We can do that. Race blocks, racing engines. Just a small cam here. Checking out right now for.
Very cool.
We also do, by the way, spindles.
Okay.
Boring and bushing, new bushings in them and boring them out.
Yeah.
So we do the front axles and spindles as well.
Nice.
Rods, obviously we already pushed them out, put new wrist pins in them. And then we'll come around here and we'll bore them to size.
Yeah.
Bore length to length.
Yeah.
If need be, we have our trusty good old Sun and Hone that's been around forever.
Yeah, everyone's got to have one of those, right?
Oh yeah. And then this is where we bore the diesel bushings out over here.
Okay.
Make sure the pin length is set right. Through here we have the block department.
Oh, nice. There's some pretty big blocks in here.
Yeah, we got quite a few. Cummins ISX, John Deere, Cat.
Yeah.
We actually have a 5.9 block up here right now.
Oh, awesome.
Cummins.
There you go. That's what we're looking to do, right?
Okay, we're getting ready to bore and deck that.
All right.
This one's already done, and we can come back to this later. We have all the cam bearings bored out for little race application.
Yeah, very cool.
So we do a little bit of everything, John Deere's. Bigger blocks over here, and then the smaller blocks right behind you. We have another guy over here just doing the smaller blocks.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to bore. Looks like an old Continental gas engine. So we'll bore it, hone it.
That's pretty neat. So what does something like that go into?
It could be an old tow motor, a Continental engine. It could be industrial application, gen set.
It's pretty small though.
Yeah, we do a lot smaller, but that's pretty small.
Yeah, that's pretty tiny.
Yeah.
So, Bryan, how many employees do you guys have here at the
Well,
shop?
we're up to 32, but we had some retire, and as you know, it's hard to get employees now.
Sure.
So I'm short about 6 people right now.
Oh, wow.
So we're all working overtime, trying to
Yeah.
keep up what we're doing.
Yeah.
But
We were
I'm
talking
short.
earlier with one of you guys up front. They were saying there was maybe a shop or two in the area that went out of business, and you guys have
Yeah, there's
kind
actually
of gotten more business from that.
yeah, actually three of our competitors actually either closed the doors, retired, or liquidated
Wow.
within the last year.
Wow.
So we're picking up all the extra machine work,
Yeah.
and it's hard.
That's got to be a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
but we're thankful for it. I mean, it's
Sure. Sure.
yep.
Bryan, you said you work on like 14 different manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start in the light duty segment and then kind of move to industrial as well, or is that something you've been doing since the start?
No,
of
we
the
did
business?
actually back in the early '70s. We did pretty much just gasoline stuff.
Oh, okay.
Race engines. Al, that's here, has a race car on the Ford circuit. He won all the Ford circuit working here, and from there we figured out there's more money and to be had in profits in diesel and industrial.
Right.
So we still do everything, light duty, medium, and heavy duty. But the profits are much higher for obviously diesel and industrial stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a niche market too.
Sure.
Different equipment for different pieces of machinery.
That's very cool.
And then back behind us here we have our 2 crankshaft grinders and our crank welder.
Oh, wow. Now, you don't see too many shops doing the crankshaft grinding anymore. You know,
No.
that's something that you talk to most machine shops and they tell you, yeah, we do everything in-house except for crank grinding.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's, is there a specific reason that you guys have continued to do it, or is it just,
Demand.
because you guys are one of the few people that do it, right?
You know, cranks coming in.
Yeah.
We have the big one behind you is that industrial piston I just picked up earlier.
Yeah.
We're gonna weld
wow.
all these, weld them back up,
Yeah.
bring them back to size.
And so do you guys have enough of that work that someone's kind of full-time?
Yes,
crank
yeah,
grinding?
he's full-time here and he does rods, full-time crank and rod
Okay.
guy. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
2 on the blocks, 2
Awesome.
full-time.
Very cool.
So we'll go over this way. It's kind of our general machining area over here.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We have
Look at all this stuff.
a lot of finished work here, waiting to be picked up.
Do you have any sort of guess, like how many, cranks or blocks or heads that you guys have in the shop? Kind of at any one.
You know what? I don't count. I bet we get maybe half a dozen to 2 dozen jobs in a day.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Wow.
But it's hard to tell what I have in the shop going on.
Right.
The computer helps do all that and schedule the employees. So.
Yeah. Oh, it looks so cool with everything just kind of
Yeah.
standing there. Yeah. Ready to go.
Yeah. This way we have our head shop
Okay.
department. So we have 3 full-time guys in the head shop. 2 work on just heavy duty diesel. Another one just works on gasoline, light duty.
Yeah.
We do a lot of heads now for like Subaru and GM and Ford, aluminum heads. Somebody's got to do them, so we do them.
it's cool how like each of these, these can be departments of the shop, but they're also like their own business too, right?
They are, exactly.
Because like you said, you're doing heads that you might not be doing the block for or the other work.
Right. We do probably 5 times more heads than we do anything else in the shop.
Yeah, wow.
Simply because, heads are more susceptible to the problems or whatever.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of machining that has to go on.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, we're always hearing from different shops that they're having trouble getting people in, new employees. With all these different segments you have, is it hard finding a guy specifically to do heads, specifically to do cranks? Is that
very
difficult?
hard, very hard. Actually, what we've been doing is training people as they're coming through and like degreasing and tear down and cleaning. If we find that potential there, we can move them into the head shop or the block shop.
Okay.
I had one employee that actually started out that way in tear down and degrease, moved through the machine shop, moved to the parts manager, and then he's been sales manager after that.
Oh, great.
So it actually came all the way through the ranks.
Yeah. That's
Very
awesome.
hard to find employees nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over here we have on our it's similar to a Cummins, but it's a John Deere, but we're boring out, making the seats.
Now I remember being here, I don't know, 5 years ago maybe, and this was kind of a newer machine at that point, right?
Right, actually that was a newer machine. We just got this a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So we had to upgrade to a bigger machine.
Yeah.
Because that other machine would not handle like the ISXs easily.
Okay.
And the Cummins C15 and Cat C15s, yeah.
Yeah.
This is where all the work comes in. So all the work you see here is all lined up coming in from either yesterday or this morning.
Okay, so this is like a tear down
It is,
type
yep.
area? Okay.
And just keep pushing it forward and keep tearing it down. So once we get it apart, Magnaflux if it's okay, then we'll put it in the hot tanks and wash them.
Okay.
Or certain applications we can actually thermally, cook them, blast them,
Yeah.
and bake them. I can show you that a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
A lot of the cylinder heads you see over here are cracked. As you can see, we do a lot more heads than we do, cranks or blocks. But
And you guys are able to repair cracked heads to a certain degree?
the diesel head, certain degree, mostly we just sell a new head.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many people do you have kind of doing the teardown stuff?
Two.
Again, if you said you had a dozen or 2 dozen stuff.
Well, we're down to 1 full-time now, but yeah, usually 2 full-time.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
It's an international head. We're getting ready to tear apart and check.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll throw them in our new, we got a Mart washer, high pressure, high temperature.
That's a pretty big washer.
It is. I want it a little bit bigger, but
how much stuff can you put in there in one time?
Oh, quite a bit. Yeah, it's got a huge round table in it. And so we got more. We can put 2 or 3 blocks or fill it up, whatever you need.
That's awesome. You'd almost think you could put like a second shelf
Pretty much.
on there,
But the nozzles actually rotate back and forth, and the turntable moves.
Okay.
That way it cleans up really good. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then if we don't want to wash them in the washer with the soapy water, we can burn them over here.
Yeah.
I don't burn any diesel blocks or heads per se, but this is 2 gas ones here we just got done. Actually still warm.
Yeah.
Ran them this morning.
Okay.
So we burned 2.
Yeah, they're looking pretty clean.
Yep, and then we blasted them over here. And then we can shake the shot out of them over here. This is another set of heads we just got done here.
Yeah.
It was just, this is a natural gas Cummins right here
Okay.
on this one. So.
That's cool.
And just some more Chevys, yeah. And a little 3-cylinder, probably a Perkins right here.
And is this just for heads?
That's just for heads, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
How many heads can you put in there at one time? You got at least 4?
4, yeah.
Okay.
4 heads, yeah.
Awesome.
Back here, this is where the work comes in. Customers come in and talk to the customers and write up desk and everything.
Okay. Kind of a load-in bay.
Yep.
Very
And
good.
while we're here, we're close to the engine dyno, which is right over here. We have
Yeah.
a Cummins N14 on it right now.
Okay.
We just built this engine. We need to dyno test it and put it back in the truck, which is in the shop.
Yeah.
Right now it has an ECM issue, so the ECM had to get sent off to get redone. So
Okay.
otherwise it was running good, but has an ECM issue. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
as soon as it gets back, we'll put it back on and we'll run it full load for about 3 to 4 hours. Make sure it's broken really good before we put it back in the truck.
Yeah. And what kind of truck is that going back into?
It's a Peterbilt. We can see it right back here in a
Okay,
second.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's all in pieces.
Yeah. Is there certain work that you guys just won't tackle, or is there really no limit to what you guys will do?
Well, there is a limit. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a limit to our capacity,
Sure.
what we can do. If it's something that we really struggle with or you don't have time, I will.
Yeah.
But usually the good customers, we try to do everything we can
Yeah.
and learn what we can. But
Right.
being down on employees, it's kind of hard to learn and do it. So
Yeah.
do our best. That's what we can do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is just the older part of our truck drive-in bays here.
Okay.
And then we put on another addition back here. And as you can tell, we're so busy that, and we used to work Saturdays, we don't work Saturdays anymore.
Yeah.
But we're so busy that I can't shut down or I can't have guys clean. So if you're watching this video and think, oh man, these walls are dirty, floor is dirty, it is, because production is more important than,
Sure.
than
Yeah.
shutting down and cleaning. It's all safe, but cleanliness, I'd like to repaint this whole place. We have our anniversary coming up here in a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did the 50th anniversary with you guys here
Right. I remember
years
that.
ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
So we have 3 more years, we'll have another big 60th anniversary party.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
It'll look different
Yeah.
then, I hope. We get things cleaned up.
Yeah. That's cool.
Okay, this is the Peterbilt truck that we talked about that the engine on the dyno's
Nice.
for. Pieces everywhere right now, get the hood laying over here and parts all over the ground, but
Yeah. And so you guys got the whole cab in here. So you guys do all the work in terms of getting it out.
yes we do, yep. So we'll take a day or two to pull it all out, tear the engine apart, run it through the machine shop.
Yeah.
It comes back over here, they build it back up, we dyno it, and put it back in the truck.
Now, do you guys have fleet contracts, or is this
Not really
someone's
fleets,
individual
owner
truck?
operators usually.
Yeah.
We do
Okay.
some work for fleets.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work for the OEMs too. Cummins, International.
Yeah.
We do their machine work, things like that.
Very cool.
So this is our fuel injection department and turbos. What you see is work coming in right here, turbochargers coming in.
Okay.
They tear them down, rebuild them. Looks like he's running a common rail injector right now over here
Okay.
on the Bosch bench.
That's neat.
So we check injectors, rebuild injectors.
So what all specifically are you guys doing here, like making sure the
It'll-
nozzles are clean and
Well, it'll do a leak test first.
okay.
And then if it passes a high pressure leak test, then it goes into actual firing just like the engine. And it'll read on the screen on all the outputs.
That's neat.
It'll check return oil too, make sure it's not returning too much oil.
Okay.
And then when we're all done, it'll print off a nice report on each injector. Pass or fail, or what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Okay. Simple as that, pass or fail, right?
Simple as that, yep.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it, yep.
All right.
Yep. And once they get done rebuilding the pump itself or the
Yeah.
injector, they have to test it. So in here we have, we have a Standardine pump on here right now
Okay.
that we actually hook up to the test stand. We meter the fuel, we meter the advance, check all the outputs.
So this lets you kind of do the whole system. Okay.
Sure does.
Nice.
And then we're audited in here by our manufacturers like Bosch, Standardine, Denso, Delphi. They come in here and audit our lines and our injectors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have one bench set up for just Standardine. We have this bench set up for just Caterpillar,
Okay.
Cat pumps. And behind you is the Huey bench for
Okay.
hydraulically actuated injectors.
Yeah.
We can run these, internationals.
This is awesome. Now, how long have you guys had the fuel injector shop?
Since about 78.
Okay.
Started, yeah.
Long time. Yeah.
This is where I spent most of my time starting in here. I had to work all the departments individually,
Yeah.
but then we had an opening, then I stayed in here for quite a long time.
So this was your longest tenure? So
Oh
to
yes, it
speak?
is. Actually,
Okay.
I'm still in here a little bit
Okay.
managing this.
And do you like this the most, or is there other aspects of
I like this the
what's
most,
going on? Okay.
but you can't be too prejudiced when you have the whole company to take care of.
Right,
You gotta
right.
go where you gotta go. So.
Right. So
This-
these guys get the new machinery first, right?
Oh, sure. Well, you know what? Yes, they're waiting for another machine right now to do the newer common rail injectors and pumps,
Okay.
but it's pushing $200,000 just for that machine. So,
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
we'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
Then we have an injector machine that does the Cat and Cummins injectors.
Okay.
And over here are our Bosch benches. For our Bosch authorizations, that's what we have now. We're authorized Bosch. This is our 815 stand we had to purchase to stay authorized.
Yeah.
We also have the 711 behind you for calibrating pumps. And you can see all the lines and the injectors, even behind you, all the injectors that we have
Yeah.
to maintain.
Yeah.
Then we'll go out this door. This is actually where the original front parts counter used to be, over here.
Okay.
And our front door is over that direction. But over here I keep all of our fuel injection inventory and turbochargers.
Yeah.
We keep it all separate from the other guys. So we manage this as a kind of a separate entity. We have the fuel shop, the truck shop, machine shop, and parts department.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool that this used to be a whole different layout and different thing.
and before this, the front counter was just behind this door too. So we
Wow.
moved the counter to
Yeah.
up front.
Yeah.
And then we came back full circle to where we started up over here.
All right, so we're back in the rod shop and towards the front here. Bryan, we really appreciate the tour. I mean, you guys
Sure.
got a ton of stuff going on. It's all really cool. But like we said, we're here to talk 5.9 Cummins builds with you. So I'm going to let Evan go first and talk with you about the mild build, and we'll go from there. But
Sounds
we
good.
appreciate the tour.
Sure. Thank you very much.
So Bryan, we just got done with the shop tour. It's been great seeing all the different, segments you have in your shop here and where you do all your specific work. We're at the Cummins now. Again, I have the mild build. Greg has the wild. I have a budget of about $17,000 and kind of just want to correct some of the problems with like the stock 5.9 Cummins, make something that I can enjoy on the weekend, kind of mess around with. So I guess let's just start there with the 5.9. Obviously Cummins is a pretty reliable manufacturer, but what are some things you can do there to kind of correct the stock platform and make it a little better, more reliable?
Well, I mean, the blocks per se are very, very durable. So besides just boring and honing to a bigger piston or a bigger size, I would put some more of your money into the headwork and maybe even in the fuel injectors and turbochargers.
So what would we do there with the heads? Yeah.
We can actually port them a little bit, do the valve job on them, make sure that's real good sealing valves.
As far as parts, things we're going to add on later, components, what can we add there to make get some more horsepower, have something fun we can ride on the weekend?
My recommendation is build it stock if you want stock, and then turn it into maybe an injector work or a programmer. Maybe get another 50, maybe 150 horse out of it just by doing that. And you can still be a street driver too. You can drive it to and from work, whatever, and still have fun.
As far as machine work, when you get a block like this, from start to finish, what's kind of the process of upgrading it via machine work?
Well, first of all, after we get it all clean, I want to make sure it's totally magnafluxed for cracks anywhere in the webbing, the deck, even the bores. From there, upgrading the machining would be just the bore and hone it. Probably needs bored and honed after a few 100,000 miles probably. From there, just stock head work, upgrading injectors, would be a little bit more.
And how reliable would an engine at this price range be with what we're doing to it compared to say Greg's more expensive
side?
build?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, on the mild side, you're still looking like the same longevity. The block can handle it, the crank can handle it, the rods can handle it. Fuel system and turbocharger can all handle that horsepower.
And what are some of the brands you use as far as rods and those components that are going to be going in?
Well, we want to put the ARP studs in it, obviously, head and the lower end studs. Pistons can be any number of manufacturers out there. For stock pistons, that's the usual, Federal Mogul FP diesel maybe, or AFAs.
Once the machine work's done, all the engine's put together, as far as power adders, what would you do for a turbocharger, stuff like that?
Turbocharger is going to be a whole set turbo. We can do upgrades on those. We can do change it to a billet wheel, a little bigger wheel, intake wheel. We can change the whole turbocharger manufacturer altogether. You can go to a Borg Warner instead of a whole set. A lot of options.
Does the customer usually kind of lay that out all for you, or do you give them options?
Nowadays, the customer does. You have that internet out there that you can search, and they come to me and say, hey, I want to build this. I want this turbo on it. I want these pistons. It's easier for us now.
Right. Do they usually have a, set, part they want, in terms of turbochargers?
They usually do, only because they've done their homework on the internet, but you can't do all that and take that for granted anymore.
Right.
They might want a certain turbo. I'm like, well, maybe I can talk you out of that because it's what you found online, but it's not true.
Mm-hmm. Now, when all that comes together, when you get the turbo, all the power adders and stuff, what do you use for oil? Keep the engine running good.
Well, we use the AMS break-in oil normally. And then once that's flushed and dumped, we just use regular 1540, whatever they call for, OEM specs.
Great. And again, our budget's $17,000 with all we're doing to this engine. What kind of power range do we see at that level?
Well, if it normally, let's say it's 350 horsepower, we can put it back to stock for you, or we can go 100 over, 450. From there, you can just build on up depending on your budget.
After you hit that point, what are some next steps we can do to, you know, hit the next level? Say if we wanted like 600 horsepower, we want to do some light racing maybe.
Oh, we were talking, you know, full engine balance at that point, different rods, pistons, camshaft, cam bearings installed.
Okay, perfect. Well, at that point, then we'll bring Greg in because he has the wild build. He's kind of he has a little more performance on that side. So we'll bring Greg in to talk about that.
All right, Brian, so you just got done chatting with Evan about his build, which is going to be more, you know, that mild budget build. I've got the wild budget, the fun stuff.
Oh, I get
to spend the dollars here with you. So I've got $30,000 to spend on, you know, a similar 5.9 Cummins build. So kind of walk me through what I can expect, or, you know, what that budget could get me.
Okay. How many horsepower are you looking for? Do you know offhand?
I mean, I'm hoping to be, you know, maybe 700-800, somewhere in there, if that's doable on that.
So you're going to need upgrades for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I would start definitely with connecting rods.
Okay.
Let's do that. And if you got extra money, so maybe another $2,400 for connecting rods.
Okay. And now walk me through, so talking about connecting rods, and obviously we're getting into a bunch of the parts, but specifically there, you know, what is that upgrade? You know, what comes stock versus what?
Well, the stock is the cast, but the other one's going to be H-beam, like the racing rods.
Okay.
Heavy duty for the diesel market.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. And I'm assuming that all the machine work that kind of goes into the block and the heads is going to be similar to what Evan might get. You know, is there anything above and beyond, you know, because I'm going to be putting more horsepower to it?
Yeah, depending on the manufacturer of the piston you pick out or the rings, we might want different clearances.
Okay.
And different bore finish on the bores.
Okay.
But for the most part, it'd be stock boring and honing,
Okay.
Unless it's specified otherwise from the manufacturer.
All right, so Brian, you're talking about, you know, the boring and a different hone. You know, obviously you're going to surface this block. Anything else machine-wise that kind of goes into?
Definitely, I would definitely take out your one OEM bearing on your cam and bore all those out for bearings.
Okay.
It'll help support your high-dollar cam.
Yeah.
For your horsepower.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that you don't typically do unless it's
not normally do. That's a race application. Yes, boring all the cam bearings bores out and putting bearings in.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. That sounds good. With the machining kind of being similar, let's go back to some of those components that can go in it. You know, you mentioned the rods being an upgrade.
Right.
You know, obviously the Cummins crank, that thing is solid. I'd probably make 3,000 horsepower and still use that crank. You mentioned pistons could be an upgrade. You know, what are some options for me there?
Yeah, pistons, they now have the top ring lands are forged steel.
Okay.
And do a billet piston.
Yep.
That's the way to go there.
Okay.
And if you're going that far, you might as well go camshaft.
Okay.
You got stage 1, stage 2 cam, anywhere from 650 to 850 on the camshaft, depending on how far you want to go.
Okay. Very good. And then, you know, you mentioned obviously with the head, I got a number of options there.
A lot of options there.
Valve train components and different things. So again, if my goal is that 700 or 800 horsepower, you know, what are some of the things I can do with the head?
The head you can do quite a bit. There's a lot of aftermarket out there heads. You can spend anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 on an aftermarket head. Yeah. With much larger valves and ports breathing much better.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I can get a whole upgraded valve train package put in, from valves to springs and all that type of stuff.
Yep. Get the larger springs. Yeah, larger exhaust springs. Yep.
Okay. Very good. Now, how about some of the fueling capabilities here? You know, do I have some options with my injectors? Can I go to a bigger injector? You know, what am I going to need to get that horsepower?
Yeah, bigger injector for sure.
Okay.
Now, let's say if a stock injector is flowing like 150 cc, you're going to at least double that, maybe even. You can do that by nozzle. We can extrude hone the nozzle out. You can buy nozzles yourself. I can put them in your injector. Yeah. But we'll flow match them, make sure everything's okay. Okay. But the injector upgrade for sure.
Very good. And then along with fueling is air. You know, these are turbocharged engines. Do I have some options there to?
You want one turbo, 2 or 3?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm coming to you for that one. You know, you see guys running compounds quite a bit. The triple turbo setup is a little less common, and I don't know that I'm going to need that for the horsepower. Okay. But I think a compound turbo setup might make sense.
It might work great, sure.
Or you can go with a really big single.
You can.
If I went a single turbo route, you know, how big of a turbo do you think I'm looking at?
Oh, you put at the base range of like an HX60, even more HX80 turbo. Okay. Even going to maybe a Garrett ball bearing turbo would be the way to go too.
Okay. And then if I wanted to go that compound turbo route, what size turbos would you recommend?
Well, they're different sizes there. You have the one feeds the other.
Yep.
But manufacturers like Holset make compound. You can go to Borg Warner or even Garrett for that too.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of the compound turbo setup. You know?
Looks better, right?
Two is always cooler than one,
right.
I guess. But I think both could do the trick, right?
It will, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You're not going to be drag racing, right? This is just a street performance.
Yeah, I just want something that's, you know, a little beefier street vehicle. Yep.
Because drag is a whole different level on top of that yet.
Right,
so.
absolutely. Yeah. All right, very good. Brian, anything else that you would recommend or anything else that you guys would do on 5.9 Cummins for my budget?
For your budget? No, we mentioned the rods, the pistons, the cam, injectors, turbo. You'd have to upgrade your fuel system, your common rail pump.
Okay.
Probably go from maybe 1 to 2 pumps to meet that volume.
Yep.
And if you really want to get serious, you could put a girdle on the bottom for the main caps.
Yeah.
Strengthen the bottom end a little bit.
That's a popular thing to do, absolutely. That's probably a smart thing to do too, right?
Then we'll check the balancing on everything before you assemble. We'll check the balancing on the crankshaft, the rods, everything.
Right. Awesome. Well, that all sounds great to me, Brian. I mean, that's definitely going to give me what I want. Now let's talk a little bit. So again, I'm going to get that 700 to 800 horsepower range, you know, somewhere in there out of a build like this. But what does that do to the durability of the engine or the reliability of the engine?
Well, obviously reliability is going to go down.
Yeah.
You know, a stock rebuild, you can look in a few 100,000 miles, but something like this, depending on how you drive it, it's hard to say. Depending on the oil and depending on the fuel, and it might hold up for, you know, a few 100,000 miles maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably looking like the 100,000 mile range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll have fun with it.
Yeah. You're gonna have fun. 100,000 miles is still
good.
Pretty solid, absolutely.
Yep.
You know, these are great engines, and they're built to last for sure. You know, even with some
they're good blocks, good foundation to work with.
Yeah. My last question here, again, if I wanted to go to that next level above and beyond what I'm already doing, what kind of upgrades would I be looking at from there? Like if I wanted to crest that 1,000 horsepower mark, you know, get above 1,000 horsepower, what is that going to take? Well,
not only the head, which could be 10,000 plus, you want to do the block, whole different block, maybe a billet block, start all over. If you're going to drag race, you don't need the water jackets anymore, so you get rid of all that.
Yeah, so you're talking pretty significant.
A lot of changes.
Basically a whole different engine at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Different pumps, different fuel system, modified injectors.
Yeah. So it's not just a couple simple add-ons there. It's really an overhaul.
Right.
Okay.
Depends how fast you want to go and how much horsepower you want.
Yeah. Now, lastly, Brian, you got a couple of bottles of AMSOIL sitting here. You know, is that a oil brand that you would recommend I could use on the Cummins?
We do. We always use AMSOIL on all of our engine break-ins here at the shop.
Okay.
No matter what, if it's a Cummins or anything else, we use AMSOIL break-in.
Yeah. And again, at my horsepower level and the type of street driving I'm doing, you know, what sort of viscosity or weight oil would you recommend I'm using?
Mostly it's 1540.
Okay.
But here it depends on your rods and your bearings you're using. If they specify a tighter clearance, you want to use something thinner.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Brian, I appreciate you walking us through the build here.
Very good, thank you.
I'm excited to get this all put together and get it in a truck.
Sure, just send me the check, we'll get started.
Absolutely, yeah. We got it all put away. I'm going to go chat with Evan and figure out, you know, compare and contrast the two different builds and kind of see, quote unquote, who came out on top on this.
Sounds good. Very good. Thank you.
All right, guys, well, we both just spoke with Brian about our 5.9 Cummins builds. We're both going to get some pretty kick-ass builds done here for the dollars. Again, Evan had 17,000 and you're getting about a 400 horsepower build. I had $30,000 and I'm going to be up close to that 800 horsepower mark. So we wanted to compare and contrast the builds on a couple different things. One is going to be dollars per horsepower. The second is going to be our durability, and third is going to be the ease of upgradability, you know, after we got these builds all done. So let's start with those dollars per horsepower, Evan.
So after crunching the numbers, it's $42 per horsepower for my build. Again, we're making about 400 horsepower with that mild build. And then on Greg's side,
on my side, for $30,000 and getting 800 horsepower, that equates to about $37 per horsepower. So I'm getting a little bit better value. Just by a bit, pretty close. So give the check mark to the wild build on that. So next is durability.
In terms of durability, We're going to give it to the mild build just for the fact that, we're not going to be pushing my truck, my engine that hard. It's 400 horsepower. It's something you can do work with. It's something you can kind of enjoy on the weekend, take it out. We're not going to be doing any racing or anything like that. Also not really with the wild build, but in terms of durability, mine will probably last longer in the long run.
Yeah, like Evan said, both builds aren't going to be going down the track. Mine could go to the track on the weekend and maybe do a pass or something, but it's really not what it's made for. So the simple fact that I do have more horsepower does just give me a little less durability because there's just more chance of something going wrong there. So again, Evan's build is going to be that more durable build, going to give him more miles on the street ultimately. So check mark for the mild build there. Lastly, we've got the ease of upgradability. You want to talk a little bit about your build?
Again, on the mild side, we're looking at about 400 horsepower. And like Bryan explained, there's some light machining work, line boring. But before that upgradability, he said you should get the crankshaft balanced. And then after that, you can look at turbochargers and upgraded fuel system. So in terms of upgradability, there's probably more potential for the mild build, my engine, but also a little bit on the wild side.
Yeah, so on the wild side, again, I'm getting up there in horsepower already. And really from there, you're gonna crest that 1,000 horsepower mark and get pretty serious.
Then it gets expensive.
And it gets expensive because then you're talking about fueling and turbos, probably a different head and potentially even a different block to really sustain that horsepower level. So it's pretty considerable cost to upgrade above and beyond what I'm already getting for this wild budget. So I think it's going to be a little easier for you to go to that next level in your build. So I think the check mark's got to go to the mild side. And with that, by my count, that's a 2-to-1 victory for mild in today's episode. So there you guys have it. That's a little information about the 5.9 Cummins and what you could kind of get built for $17K or $30K and some of the options involved. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We want to thank Bryan and everyone here at R&R Engine and Machine for letting us see the shop and talking through these builds. They got an awesome facility here. So make sure you guys are checking out all of that. And as always, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.